happens to a person's soul who's suffering torment and decides to commit suicide? That's the first question. The second is, what do you think about euthanasia? What would I recommend for a person who wants to kill himself because of the suffering? No, not what you would recommend. Well, that's another question, perhaps. She's asking, what happens to a person who suffers terrible torments and decides to kill himself? If he commits suicide, he suffered terribly, decided to kill himself. What happens to his soul? Well, nothing happens to his soul because he hasn't even developed his soul. It's like a drop of semen that we haven't allowed it to become an embryo. Well, I don't understand. A person lived, suffered, and decided to commit suicide. Committed suicide, and then what happens to his soul? Well, he didn't do his part. He didn't take advantage of his chance for correction, so he has to reincarnate. Because he didn't do it in a natural way of overcoming the failures, because whatever problems he was given, the problems are given to a person is given problems to the extent that he can overcome them. And instead he killed himself, so now he has to reincarnate and begin his corrections anew under a little harsher conditions. How is that different from a person who died in good age and is reincarnated into our world? So what's the difference between those two people? Because they both didn't correct themselves. They didn't correct themselves, but one continued his way naturally and hence continues naturally his correction in the next life. Let's say he's born in another minute, and the one who killed himself. The other one who killed himself also does it, but he really cut off his previous life and didn't use the conditions, although as hard as they may have been. And as a result, he has to carry on these conditions to the new life. And it's not to his benefit. You can't really explain these conditions because it has to do with the connection of the souls, but it'll make his corrections in the next life harder. I'll try and explain it simply with like an allegory. Tell me if I got it right. A person who died naturally continues. He's born with a clean slate. Well, there are no clean slates. We're all incarnations over incarnations. We all carry our previous incarnations. But if the incarnations I went through are on a corporal level, egoistic level, then I developed and followed the reshimot that I was allowed to develop in. So I continue my life and continue the correction. And in one moment in my life, a pinch in my heart. I feel a pinch in my heart, something. I want to achieve spirituality. I want to know what I'm living for. And then I continue. Instead of moving on the same level, I suddenly want to rise higher. And that's the natural way. But those who end their lives by committing suicide, by taking their own lives, the end that they that they bring on themselves brings them into much harsher conditions because they carry the reshimo of their act into the next life. And in the next life, its correction is harder. Okay, her next question was, what do you think about euthanasia? Euthanasia, a person is in a bad medical condition. He's on life support. She's asking, what do you think about it? About euthanasia, mercy killing. Some say it's good, some say it's not good. I don't think so. We have a clear law of what to do, and that's what we should follow towards people who commit suicide, towards people who end their lives in this way. Normally, they sign it or whatever. person should go naturally. On the level of this world, we have to follow the laws. We have to follow what is written. Because again, all the rules that the Torah talks about on the level of this world are projections of spiritual roots.